Donna, and I am a children's librarian from the Half Hollow Hills Community Library. I am here today to share some great books with you that I hope you will get to enjoy all summer long. We are going to start with Max and the Midnights by Lincoln Pierce. Hey, that's the same author who writes the Big Nate series. So if you like the Big Nate series, and if you like books like The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I think you're going to love Max and the Midnights. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Okay, Max and the Midnights is a fun hybrid book, part graphic novel and part regular novel. It's silly, it's fun, and it's an amazing story with really surprising twists. It takes place in the Middle Ages, the late 1300s, and Max, the main character, he travels with his uncle Budrick, who's a troubadour. Do you know what a troubadour is? A troubadour is a singer or entertainer who travels from town to town performing for the townspeople. Because don't forget, back in the Middle Ages, they didn't have TV, they didn't have PlayStations, they didn't have the internet, they didn't even have radio. So this was the only way for people to be entertained. And Max is supposed to follow his Uncle Budrick, and he's supposed to also follow in his footsteps and also become a troubadour and entertain people. But what Max really wants is to become a knight. Max and Uncle Budrick's travels bring them to Uncle Budrick's home kingdom of Byjovia. And Byjovia has changed since Uncle Budrick left, and is now ruled by an evil king named Ghastly. After Max causes some excitement in town, Uncle Budrick gets dragged off to be the king's personal entertainer. And given Uncle Budrick's lack of talent, Max knows that Uncle Budrick has to be rescued. So, will Max be able to rescue his uncle? You're gonna have to try to find out. Get ready for some laughs. Alrighty, and now we're going to go on to our next book, and this is another really great one that I hope you guys will like. It is called The Losers Club by Andrew Clements. What are some of the things that you get sent to the principal's office for? Maybe talking back to the teacher, maybe bullying, shoving or punching, or maybe throwing food in the cafeteria. All of those things are good reasons to get sent to the principal's office. But in the case of Alex, he gets sent to the principal's office for reading. Alex reads all the time, and his teachers have had enough. Threatened with summer school if he can't stop reading during class, Alex decides to try to curb his reading. When Alex starts attending a 3-hour after-school program, he's told that he has to sign up for either active games, homework room, or one of the clubs. He doesn't want to do any of these things. So he creates his own club, just for reading. And the name of the club? The Losers Club. That will keep those rowdy, noisy kids away, right? Well, that will give him some peace of mind and quiet for reading, at least. But who wants to be in a club for losers, would you? Well, you'll have to find out and read The Losers Club to find out just who joins and if anybody does at all. And we are going to go on to our next book, and that one is called The Lion of Mars. And this one is by Jennifer L. Holm, The Lion of Mars. What if you had never seen a real dog in your life? What if you could not breathe the air outside of your home? What if you lived on Mars? I'd like to tell you about a fun science fiction book called The Lion of Mars by Jennifer L. Holm. The main character is Bell. He's 11 years old and he loves animals. His favorite animal is the lion. but he's never seen a real lion. He's never been to a zoo. He's also never seen a real dog or even a common squirrel. He has seen a cat, and he has a pet cat named Leo, who lives with him on the American Mars settlement. Now, Belle came to Mars as a baby, and he has no memory of life on Earth. There are other kids of various ages who live in the settlement with him, though there probably are about 5 or 6 adults who live on this American Mars settlement also, including a very special adult called Phineas. And Phineas is like a grandfather to Belle. They grow their own food, and they also have to wait for supplies to come in from Earth. But the conditions have to be just right for the supply ship to reach them. And the conditions have to be perfect for it to also land on the planet Mars. But they're not the only ones on Mars. Other countries have settled on Mars. But something happened years ago that the adults won't talk about. And since that time, it's a rule that they cannot have any interaction with the people from other settlements. So when the adults start getting sick, the kids ignore the rules and they head out beyond the settlement. And they try to get help for their adult crew. But they are nervous now. Will they run into aliens? Will they be kidnapped by other settlements and imprisoned? Who knows what will happen out there? But they do go out. But will they get the help they need to help the adult crew in time? You're going to have to read The Lion of Mars by Jennifer L. Holm to find that out. The next book we're going to read is called Canyon's Edge by Dusty Bowling. A year ago, on her birthday, Nora lost her mother. To honor her memory, Nora and her dad plan a canyon adventure to get away. Things do not go as planned when Nora suddenly finds herself lost and alone. Having time alone in the canyon, Nora thinks about the past. She also thinks about the advice her therapist gave her. Can Nora overcome the nightmares? Can she control the beast that seems to lurk in her life? When she gets separated from her father during this canyon adventure, she battles the elements, the flood, the poisonous snake, the poisonous scorpions. She doesn't have any sunscreen or even a jacket because, after all, this was supposed to be a moderate hike, not an extended hike. There is exhaustion, starvation, and the heat of the canyon. Can she find her father? Will Nora make it out alive? This is a very compelling story, and I had a hard time putting it down. If you like the I Survived books, you are going to love this one. The next book we're going to talk about is called Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. What if you get transported to a whole different world that you didn't know about? That's exactly what happened to the main character of this book, Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is a science fiction fantasy book. The main character of the book is Amari. And Amari has never stopped believing that her brother Quentin is still in this world, and she just has to find him. He went missing, and of course she is so sad. One day she gets this really mysterious package, and this package gives her directions on how to join the Supernatural Bureau of Investigations. Think of like Men in Black, Spy Kids, Special Academy, all kinds of magical and supernatural beings, all types of fun creatures. This is the same school that her brother did, and it's a leadership camp actually. So she decides to go there because maybe she can find out about what happened to her brother. While at this camp, Amari finds out she's a magician. She never knew this. and magicians at this bureau are looked down upon. They are considered evil. So Amari has to prove that she would use her magic for good, not evil. So while all of this is going on, she's using her time at the bureau to investigate her brother's disappearance and see if she can figure out where he is and bring him home. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You'll have to read this and find out for yourself. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And we do have another book here, which I think you're going to like also. And this one is, I'd like to share it with you. It's a graphic novel, and it is called My Video Ate My Homework by Dustin Hanson. And this one's about Dewey, who has found himself in a bit of trouble. Unless he can get a perfect score on his science fair project, he's going to have to go to summer school. Dewey is great at building things. He made this super cool volcano model with buttons that spurt out ketchup and smoke and all different things. But then Dewey's friend Ferg comes over. And when Ferg comes over, he brings with him a new video game console that he borrowed from his dad. And he tells Dewey, or he asks Dewey, can you help me fix it? And Dewey, of course, says, sure, I'll give it a shot. And sure enough, Dewey fixes the console. But when he does, the console comes to life. And the science fair project is sucked into the portal, the video game. So now it's up to Dewey and his friend to go through the portal and play the game to the end to try to rescue Dewey's volcano project. And it's fun, this book, because it has points and it sort of looks like a video game. Cool magical monsters and nods to Dungeons and Dragons throughout the book. So if you're looking for a cool video game adventure story, you can check out My Video Game Ate My Homework by Dustin Hanson.
You're so excited? You get to take a friend on your family beach vacation this year. Sun, sand, ice pops, fireworks. Wait, what? You're not going? The trip is canceled. Instead, you're going to visit your grandfather at his retirement home in Florida for the whole summer? Well, you could at least go to Disney World, right? That's what happened to Sunny Lewin. Find out why her summer plans with her best friend get squashed, how she has fun at the retirement home, and if she ever does make it to Disney World in the graphic novel Sunny Side Up by Jennifer and Matthew Holmes. Where did your name come from? Were you named after someone? Does your name have a special meaning? Ryan Hart's parents named her Ryan because it means leader. Throughout her 4th grade year, she is faced with many challenges, but always tries to live up to her name. Read Ways to Make Sunshine by Renee Watson to follow Ryan's adventures as she tries to solve a mystery about her new house, has to outrun a swarm of bees, and deals with a mean girl. What if you could wish for anything and it came true? That's an awesome power. That's what happens to Sam. At first, he has fun experimenting with wishes. Then he gets serious about things he'd like to change. But wishes do have consequences. Read Big Wish by Brandon Robshaw to find out what Sam decides to do with his wishes. Don't you just hate it when your parents make big decisions without asking you about it first? That's what happens to Jen in Stepping Stones. Her mother wants to change and moves her from New York City to a farm upstate. Find out how this city girl learns how to survive farm chores and her new stepsisters. Stepping Stones is a graphic novel by Lucy Knisley. Disney parks, Disney movies, Disney Plus streaming. Disney is everywhere. But how did all that start? Walt Disney liked to say it all started with a mouse. But it all started with an idea. Read From Idea to Disney to find out how a simple idea grew into an entertainment giant. How much does the internet weigh? What is the strongest muscle in the body? If you draw a line with a standard pencil, how long will it go? Which animal uses sweat as sunscreen? Find out the answer to these and more science questions in What Breathes Through Its Butt.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Tess from the Half Hollow Hills Community Library, Children's Librarian, and I'm here to share some great books with you that I hope you will enjoy all summer long. The Scarlet Stalking Spy by Trinka Hakes Noble. This is the fascinating true story of Maddie Rose, a young seamstress girl and her famous red stockings. The time period is 1777 in Philadelphia and the Revolutionary War is raging on. Maddie Rose uses her clothesline to communicate secret messages to the Patriots about the incoming British ships. She hung her petticoats and stockings in the same order as the real ships along the wharf. It was very dangerous work and she could have gotten caught at any time, but she did her part and helped our country to win the Revolutionary War. If you would like to learn more about an exciting time in history when a brave girl helped out, then this picture book is for you. Heroism Begins with Her by Winifred Conkling. Did you know that women have been in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard as nurses, pilots, engineers, and soldiers from as far back as the Revolutionary War? They have dressed as men, worked for little to no pay, and risked their lives in order to serve the United States. If you'd like to learn about the lives of some inspiring and amazing women, then this book is for you. Each article is short and colorful, but gives you plenty of facts about their fascinating accomplishments. Learn what it takes to be a hero by reading about these courageous women. The Curse of the Evil Librarian by Michelle Knudsen. This is the third book in the Evil Librarian trilogy, and both the cover and the title appealed to me. Mr. Gabriel, the evil librarian, is safely locked away after a showdown at the theater camp last summer with Cynthia. All her friends are still alive, and no one has been attacked or possessed by demons for months now. She's looking forward to a fantastic musical in the fall. Her boyfriend Ryan is sure to get a dream role, and she'll have an awesome senior year. So what could go wrong? Unless, of course, Mr. Gabriel escapes, places a curse on Ryan, and Cynthia has to save him? Don't miss The Curse of the Evil Librarian. This is Just a Test by Madeline Rosenberg and Wendy Wan Longshang. This is a hilarious and heartwarming story of David Dalway Horowitz, a boy who has a lot going on in his life. While he's trying to prepare for his upcoming bar mitzvah and please both his Jewish and Chinese grandparents who argue about everything, he's also concerned with trying to win a trivia contest and building a fallout shelter in case he and his friends need to take cover. Will David be able to make everyone happy and not self-destruct in the process? Does any of this sound familiar to you? Can you relate? Read This Is Just a Test and find out. Samantha Spinner and the Super Secret Plans by Russell Ginns. The title of this book hooked me from the start. Here's what we know so far. Samantha's Uncle Paul disappeared into thin air and left behind a few mysteries. A huge check for her sister, the New York Yankees to her brother, and a rusty red umbrella for Samantha with a strange message. Watch out for the rain. What does that mean? And why did Uncle Paul mysteriously vanish, and is he in danger? Read this book and find the answer to these and many more other intriguing questions. Loot: How to Steal a Fortune by Jude Watson. If you like books that are fast-paced, then this is a book you won't want to miss. Have you ever heard of notorious cat burglar Alfie McQuinn? Well, on a foggy night in Amsterdam, which is where and when this story takes place, he has fallen off a rooftop, and it doesn't look like he has long to live. As the sirens wail in the distance, Alfie manages to whisper to his son March to find jewels, and we learn that he is not referring to the stash of loot, but instead March's twin sister Jules, whom he never knew about. There, they hatch a plan to escape, find their father's jewels, and be rich. Watch out! These kids are on the loose, and I think this is a book you won't want to put down. It has an eye-catching cover with a jewel and sunglasses, and it was this design that I was drawn to. I also want to mention that Jude Watson is one of the authors of the 39 Clues series, so if you like those books, then Loot won't disappoint.
If you like wordplay, math puzzles, social satire, and irony, then please read The Phantom Tollbooth. This book is about a boy named Milo who had little interest in anything, and he takes a trip through the Phantom Tollbooth to the land beyond, where he meets an enchanting cast of characters that teach him the importance of words, numbers, ideas, creativity, and enthusiasm for life. And the Dragonflies. It's set in the bayou of Louisiana, and it's an intense, gripping tale of love, loss, friendship, and it features a black boy grappling with dreams and identity. Please enjoy this book. Badger is a quiet, solitary geologist intent on his important rock work. Skunk is an outgoing, friendly, unwelcome new roommate. They have nothing in common, and this is never going to work out. But the more time they spend together, the more they learn about each other. Maybe they have more in common than they realized. In the footsteps of Crazy Horse, Jimmy McLean goes on a road trip with his grandfather, his Lakota grandfather. And they take a road trip, and at each stop, grandfather brings history to dramatic life with his stories about Crazy Horse. And he learns about what it really means to be a hero. And it's full of historical and biographical information. In Indian No More, it's 1954, and 8-year-old Regina Pettit and her family, members of the Umpqua tribe of northern Oregon, are forced by the U.S. government to relocate to Los Angeles. There, she tries to adapt, making friends outside her culture and figuring out what it means to be Indian. The War That Saved My Life. Ada and her brother live with their mother in a one-room apartment in London. The mother is afraid of Ada's club foot and has never let her leave the apartment. When World War II begins, the children are evacuated from London and taken in by Susan. For the first time, Ada can participate in life, which includes learning to read and write and teaching herself to ride a pony. She also learns that her foot can be fixed. But when Mother comes to take them back, having become a much stronger person, Ada wants to get herself and Jamie back to Susan.
Hey everyone, my name is Liz Hughes and I am one of the librarians at Half Hollow Hills Community Library, and I am here to share some great books with you that I hope you enjoy all summer long.
Generation Misfits by Akemi Dawn Bowman. Millie is attending a real school for the first time, and she dreams of finally having friends and a little bit of freedom. She finds her chance when she joins an imitation band of her favorite J-pop group, where she's thrilled to meet a group of misfits who quickly become a tight-knit group of friends that are like family. Amazing Beef Squad, Never Say Die by Jason Ross. Nicky Rhodes and his friends Pratchett, Hogg, and Jared, together known as the Beef Squad, have got 7th grade totally hacked. They make perfect grades by day, pull spectacular pranks by night, play video games in between, and do it all with a zany sense of humor only they find funny. But 7th grade is about to strike back. Trouble at school and a secret from their town's gold rush past put the Beef Squad on a collision course with Leonardoville's most powerful forces. Now, with the help of the robotics teammate Carla Wu, they decide to reveal what's going on, no matter the consequences. Root Magic by Eden Royce. It's 1963 and things are changing for Jezebel Turner. Her beloved grandmother has just passed away, the local police deputy won't stop harassing her family, and with school integration arriving in South Carolina, Jez and her twin brother Jay are about to begin the school year with a bunch of new kids. But the biggest change comes when Jez and Jay turn 11, and their Uncle Doc tells him that he's going to train them in root work. Jez and Jay have always been fascinated by the African American folk magic that has been legacy of their family for generations. especially the curious potions and powders Doc and Gran would make for the people on their island. But Jez soon finds out that her family's true power goes far beyond small charms and elixirs. And not a moment too soon, because when evil, both natural and supernatural, comes to show itself in town, it's going to take every bit of magic she has inside of her to see it through. Ground Zero by Alan Gratz. Brandon is visiting his dad on the 107th floor of the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001, when the attack comes. Rashmina is a girl from Afghanistan who has grown up in the aftermath of that attack, but dreams of peace, becoming a teacher, and escaping her village, and the narrow role that the Taliban believes is appropriate for women. Both are struggling to survive. Both have been changed forever by the events of 9/11. CeCerios and the Desert of Souls by Kayla Rivera. Living in a remote town is dangerous, especially when powerful spirits roam the desert and threaten humankind. But Cecilia Rios has always believed that there was more to it than that. But when her older sister is kidnapped by a powerful dark spirit, Cece is determined to bring her back. Much Ado About Baseball by Rajani Laraka. 12-year-old Trish can solve tough math problems and throw a mean fastball. But because of her mom's new job, she's now facing a summer trying to make friends all over again in a new town. That isn't an easy thing to do, and her mom is too busy to notice how miserable she is. When a mysterious booklet of math puzzles claiming to reveal the ultimate answer arrives in her mailbox, Trish and her new friends start to solve the puzzles together. Can they find the answer to this ultimate puzzle, or will they strike out when it counts the most? Ophi's Ghost by Justina Ireland. Ophelia Harrison used to live in a small house in the Georgia countryside, but that was before the night in November 1922 and the cruel act that took her home and her father from her. That was also the same night that Ophi learned she can see ghosts. Now Ophi and her mother are living in Pittsburgh with relatives they barely know. In the hopes of earning enough money to get their own place, Mama has gotten Ophi a job as a maid in an old manor, which is haunted by ghosts. Now she is left to wonder if these spirits hold more secrets than she bargained for. Joan Rests by Audra Winslow. At first, Jo and Russ don't realize how much they have in common. She's a middle schooler who's constantly bullied, and he's a high schooler in a rock band. But when a mysterious one-eyed cat brings the two of them together, they quickly learn they're both outcasts trying to figure out what they really want from life in a world where the odds are stacked against them. It's only by becoming friends they discover who they are, who they want to be, and what it takes for every one of us to find our own happiness. The Shape of Thunder by Jasmine Warga. Cora hasn't spoken to her best friend Quinn in a year. Despite living next door to each other, they exist in separate worlds of grief. Cora is still grappling with the death of her sister, and Quinn is carrying the guilt of what her brother did. On the day of Cora's 12th birthday, Quinn leaves a box on her doorstep with a note. She has decided that the only way to fix things is to go back in time to the moment before her brother changed all their lives forever and stop him. In spite of herself, Cora wants to believe. And so, the two former best friends begin working together to open a wormhole in the fabric of the universe. But as they attempt to unravel the mysteries of time travel to save their siblings, they learn that the magic of their friendship may actually be the key to saving themselves. Starfish by Lisa Phipps. Ever since Ellie wore a whale swimsuit and made a big splash at her 5th birthday party, she's been bullied about her weight. To cope, she tries to live by the fat girl rules, like no making waves, avoid eating in public, and don't move so fast that your body jiggles. And she's found her safe space, her swimming pool, where she feels weightless in a fat-obsessed world. In the water, she can stretch herself out like a starfish and take up all the room she wants. It's also where she can get away from her pushy mom, who thinks criticizing Ellie's weight will motivate her to diet. Fortunately, Ellie has allies in her dad, her therapist, and her new neighbor, Catalina, who love Ellie for who she is. With this support behind her, Ellie might finally be able to cast aside the fat girl rules and starfish in real life, by unapologetically being her own fabulous self. When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson. Omar and his younger brother Hassan have spent most of their lives in a refugee camp in Kenya. Life is hard there. Never enough food, achingly dull, and without access to the medical care Omar knows his nonverbal brother needs. So when Omar has the opportunity to go to school, he knows it might be a chance to change their future. But it would also mean leaving his brother. the only family member he has left, every day. Fearless by Mandy Gonzalez. 12-year-old Monica Garcia has arrived in New York City with her grandmother and a few suitcases to live her dream on Broadway. She's been chosen as an understudy to the star of Our Time, the famed Ethel Merman Theater's last chance to produce a hit before it shutters its doors for good. Along with her fellow castmates, aka the Squad, Monica has a big and very personal reason to want this show to succeed. But rumors of a long-running curse plague the theater, and when strange and terrible things start to threaten their hopes for a successful opening night, Monica and the rest of the Squad must figure out how to reverse this curse before their big Broadway debuts. The Magical Reality of Nadia by Basim Yousaf. Nadia loves fun facts. Here are a few about her. She collects bobbleheads. She has 77 so far. She moved from Egypt to America when she was 6 years old. The hippo amulet she wears is ancient, as in it's literally from ancient Egypt. And she's going to win a contest to design a new exhibit at the local museum, because how cool would that be? Okay, so that last one isn't a fact just yet, but Nadia has plans to make it one. But when a new kid shows up and teases Nadia about her Egyptian heritage, it's totally unexpected and totally throws her off her game. And something else happens that Nadia can't explain. Her amulet starts glowing. She soon discovers that the hippo is holding a hilarious and helpful secret. Can she use it to confront the new kid and win the contest?